Yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, you represent Cole Hayden, right? Yeah, I saw he did some work for Miley. Yeah, I was wondering if he wanted to do just a little light editing. Hello? How's it going, guys? I'm Autograph, and today on the Untrained Ear, we are going to be talking about Something Beautiful by Miley Cyrus. So, Something Beautiful is the ninth studio album from singer-songwriter and apparently producer Miley Cyrus. This piece does certainly still exist within the pop genre, though there are some flexes into art pop. The production on this album is absolutely nothing to scoff at, which is noteworthy because Miley did annotate that she was very much involved in the production process on this piece, along with Sean Everett, who got notes for being involved in the production on every single track. Uh, Additionally, there were credits to several guest writers and producers across the 13 track spread to this album, including a personal favorite of mine, that being Cole Hayden of model ACTRIZ. There are several tracks on this album that should be mentioned to have some clear Lady Gaga inspiration, hence the art pop designation, which admittedly is an excellent fit for Miley Cyrus when she is under the right production guidance and direction, which I believe she absolutely is in this piece. Lyrically, also, I will note that there has definitely been a step up in terms of some of the previous projects to this one for Miley, though I will say that this album is not without its flaws. I think it is a sign for sure of some growth for Miley Cyrus. It is rare that I find myself giving accolades to transition tracks, but I think that it would be wrong to go through this album breakdown without giving some sort of a nod to the prelude and interludes 1 and 2. The tracks here, the transitionary tracks, are so well done. They're dynamic and they're atmospheric, and I found myself enjoying every single one of these. I think that they set the tone in just an absolutely dynamic way. I am just normally not a fan of transition tracks, but I legitimately just found myself enjoying them. And when I looked to the writing and production teams for each of these tracks, I immediately was not surprised why, especially when it came to the prelude track. When I found the accreditation again for Cole Hayden of Model ACTRIZ, I immediately understood what was happening and why I was so impressed with these tracks. But not just the production on these tracks, but across the album. I think it deserves some recognition on Miley's half, and of course, on behalf of Sean Everett, that cohesively production was a plus in this album. And when you're giving accolades to transitionary tracks, you know that there is something that's been absolutely done the right way on an album. So we're off to a good start already when we're when we're talking this way. So Something Beautiful, which is for all intents and purposes the first lyrical like major album opener, is a track that equates romantic interaction with miracles or even like religion in a way. You get these very soulful promenades from Miley that are accompanied by quiet piano, strings, saxophone, and bass grooves. And the chorus actually like literally explodes at the back segment of the song with thrashing drums and heavy guitar chords. And what I especially appreciated about this track is the way that the sonic presentation really like seesaws and transitions between the two extremes. It's just like masterfully executed and seamless, and a testament again to the production prowess that really is executed, I think, on this album and especially on this track. I think it's just a very strong start to what is done on this album, and an easy track to fall in love with. So Easy Lover lyrically is a song about romantic entanglement that is very back and forth. It's about a very wildfire romance that has lots of allusion lyrically to fire and the elements of fire. And I really love the choice that was made in production of doing a like jazzy soul piece here that is sandwiched between the two interludes. So it's very dramatically introduced and then transitioned out of. The track is very sonically diverse. You get grooving bass, cruising guitar, and you get these very ascendant synth tones, which are like the main points of consistency. But amidst all of this, you get Miley's vocal crooning, which is really where the jazz elements like get to play out on this track. And she does an excellent job of mixing up the vocal progressions as the track moves along, which makes like each retread of the chorus interesting. For me, this is truly a standout moment on the track that was very impressive. Okay, so with Pretend You're God, the first segment of the track opens with reverb basically mixed in over Miley's voice as she wrestles with basically indecisive thoughts over whether or not she wants her partner to be honest about their stake in the relationship. And to symbolize this instrumentally, you get very ghastly strings and patient drums that sort of dominate the track. And then as the track develops, you get a development in the mix as it starts to complexify and layers are added slowly as you get ambient depth with extra backup layers to Miley's voice. You get screeches on the electric guitar and extra noises overall, like ambient noises that are kind of mixed into the production. And then you get a sudden drop off as the of the music as suddenly there's a lyrical indication that the partner has exited the relationship. And then the production gets very chaotic, and you get these jazzy drum forays, and it's a very symbolic track instrumentally to signify the emotional spectrum that Miley kind of undergoes as this relationship develops and then severs. It's a very deep piece, I think, for Miley, and a testament, I think, to her maturity as an artist and the way she's able to convey, in a multi layered and musical way, her emotions and her ability to tell the story of a relationship with more than just surface level lyrics and repetitive choruses. So yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to this idea that I'm very impressed with some of the storytelling and depth and emotional spectrum that I'm able to analyze with these Miley Cyrus tracks on this album, as this is another just like more mature piece, I think, for her. All right, Every Girl You Ever Loved is easily my favorite track on this album. It opens with saxophone, and so already I'm bought in. And then it quickly escalates into an electro synth dancey piece. It's very Gaga esque right off the jump. And then the chorus comes in, and it's like an immediate hook. It's electro synth fused with sax. It's a very potent mix, very catchy. And then you get the very bravado, strong Miley Cyrus voice, which just, I mean, it just has Gaga all over it, right down to the Naomi Campbell feature, which is in the post chorus where she's doing spoken word verse, which, you know, is another Gaga esque feature. The bridge adds this very dramatic string segment with epic chanting that builds tension and adds atmosphere. And then this pays off with a pseudo breakdown at the tail end of the track that adds in this epic electro production element that's very like epic and loud and booming. And it's just like very post 2010s art pop, fully fleshed Lady Gaga. And Miley Cyrus just absolutely pulls it off. The production team just hits a home run with it. I think it's just so absolutely a slam dunk, home run, whatever sports ball terminology you want to apply here. Yeah, super big fan of this one. So, truth be told, there are a handful of tracks on here that I'm not the hugest fan of. I think they suffer from the very cliched, like, we need to fill a couple track slots, formulaic problems that, if you know, artists can tend to suffer from at points. They're not like bad tracks, they're just like space fillers, I think. End of the World is the track I'll cite, and I will state that this is kind of a gap filler for any tracks that I didn't like. I think that they feature like okay hooks a la, I don't know, like 2010s anthemic pop. If you know what I'm talking about with this, it's very formulaic and repetitive with, you know, choruses that'll hit you like 4 or 5 times over and over, and it doesn't really do much to develop its instrumentalism or its sonic depth. Lyrically, you know, I mean, as a whole, this album is a little more to offer for a Miley album than some of the others, but I felt like even lyrically, some of these tracks were lacking. But you know, in general, like most of these tracks tended to overstay their welcome, and again, this has to do with just these like, okay, let's really punch in these choruses, let's hit them like 4 or 5 times. Just, I don't know. They felt like gap fillers. So I don't know. Like they weren't horrible tracks. I just, you know, she didn't need them. You know, we didn't need End of the World. Call me crazy. So yeah, I mean, overall, you know, filler tracks aside, I think this project was impressive to me. I think that it shocked me. I've seen the rhetoric floating around online. A lot of people were really surprised with it. Those who went in blind had their expectations exceeded. I was one of those folks. Those who knew the singles going in kind of knew to have high expectations. And, you know, it's not a perfect album. I'm not going to sit here and sing the praises and say, oh, this is a 10, this is a 10. And if you've been following me long enough, you know that my ratings, I think, tend to be a bit higher than the average, you know, critic. But, um, you know, this was a strong album. I will be I will stand behind that, and maybe I'll be unpopular in the music world for saying that, but I'll say it. I like the production. I like what Miley is trying to pull off, and I think that there's some good stuff here, and I think she can build on it. And I like what I'm seeing. So as far as the baseless rating for this piece, I'm thinking that I'm going to give it a surprising 7.